I don't know, 5, 6 times. And I can remember somebody urinated on me, and I said, "Thank you for not hurting me." And he just hauled off and punched me in the side of the head and knocked me out. I can remember leaving that party, and my dad was just kind of dragging me out of there. It was another instance, just like with Andy Biggs, where I got beaten to the point where, the room was spinning. I was nauseous, probably throwing up, maybe some broken bones, badly.
And how many perpetrators did you say again? 20 to 40, 25 to 40 perpetrators?
People that were there, yes. I would say probably 8 or 10 that just beat the absolute hell out of me. And some of them probably sexually assaulted me, but I can't remember. I can remember getting hurt, just getting beaten up and,
Was that before you tried to defend yourself from Trump or after? Do you remember?
That was after. That was
after.
As a punishment, if you want to call it that. What happened at that party was part of the punishment, and then I can remember them saying that this is the last of it when I had to go see Andy Biggs, but Andy Biggs almost fucking killed me. So I remember him to this day.
So when Andy Biggs almost killed you was after Trump as well?
Yes.
Okay.
After Andy Biggs was after Trump. The party that a whole bunch of people assaulted me was after that, and then the last one was Andy Biggs, and then I can remember my dad saying no more. I can remember him even kind of breaking down a little bit, like psychologically, because I guess the repeated watching me just get destroyed by people. You got to understand, it's not like boo-boos and Band-Aids. They were breaking ribs and really hurting me. I've got like a deformed rib cage to this day.
No, it sounds like they were trying to torture you just to the point of death, to punish you and to send a message.
They tried over and over again to hint to me to get me to kill myself. Yeah. And I can remember thinking, there's no way I'm going to kill myself because that's what they want. So I kind of survived some of that just out of spite, to be honest with you. There's really no other way to put it, but I wasn't going to. I can remember hating my mom so much that I just did not want to give her the satisfaction.
Yeah.
She, as bad as my dad was, Marilyn Riley was even more evil. Her thing was sexually torturing me. So, and she enjoyed sexually torturing Samantha when they went and got her.
And Samantha was the runaway that Riley,
yes, the runaway that she lived in a brothel, basically, a house where they had 4 or 5 underage girls that they had scooped up from wherever they got them from, and they would use those girls at these parties. Well, at one time, they sent me to go be a part of that brothel. So that's when I made friends with Samantha, Patricia, and Sarah, and those are the only 3 that I can remember their names. But Sarah committed suicide, Samantha was tortured to death, and Patricia was the girl that got shot in the bed before Trump came in.
Did Patricia die?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So Samantha, Patricia, and Sarah, and all 3 died?
Yes. Yes.
So Samantha was the runaway that was murdered by your adopted parents?
Yes.
Patricia committed suicide, Sarah committed suicide, and Patricia was murdered in the bed before Trump came in. And then they threatened you and said to let Trump do whatever Trump wanted to do to you, or they would shoot you in the head as well.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And I can remember them pointing the gun at me and saying, "We're going to kill you." And my dad protesting because he said, "If you shoot him, we're all going to go to jail." And he was really, I can remember him being distraught. Now he's a kind of a tough guy and, all of that sort of stuff. So that's what stood out to me was he was really scared because he knew that if they just shot me, that's not something he could explain to anybody. And he had gotten into so much trouble with trying to get rid of me already. But there's the Chevy van incident, there's the pool incident, and then there's the stairs incident. And all of those generated a police report. In addition to that, we went down to Panama City, Florida, to the beach, or either Panama City or Destin, and they took me to a riptide area. I didn't know it was a riptide area. There were no other people on the beach. It was just us. But within like 100 yards, 150 yards, there's the regular beach where people were at. You know how they have the riptide zones. They don't want you out there, right, for obvious reasons. Well, they took me to one of these zones and had me, say, hey, come out here and play in the water and this and that. And for the first few minutes, it was just the 3 of us playing in the water, and I'm just a kid. Beach is awesome. So, at any rate, they go back in. I'm out there playing. Eventually, that current gets me, and I don't know how to swim at this point in my life. So it pulls me out, 100 feet maybe, and I'm bouncing up and down off the sandbar, just screaming my head off. Well, somebody that was on the regular beach, not in the riptide area, heard the screaming and came running from like 150 yards away, and right by my parents who were standing there. And he goes out there and gets me, fishes me out. By the time he comes back, he's nearly exhausted, and I can remember him and my dad nearly fighting. And at this point, there are other people that are coming, and That scares the shit out of my dad. But there was another police report with that. And I know that that police report followed us back up into Alabama because the sheriff came down there and talked to my dad in Alabama. So there was another investigation for sure. So all of those things had already happened. And my dad was terrified that if something happened to me, especially so close to all of these other things, that all of these other investigations, he pretty much knew he was going to go to jail over it.
So there was at least the Chevy van incident, pool incident, stairs incident. There was police reports. How many police reports? About 3 or 4. And then
that are just involved in trying to get rid of me. And then there were, in addition to those 4, there were 2 investigations, one for the porn, and then when we lived in the duplex and they were torturing that girl to death, Samantha, our duplex neighbors there in Enterprise, Alabama, they called the police because they could hear, screams and beatings and stuff like that. And when they investigated, I can remember my dad saying, hey, he talking about me is just, I had gotten in trouble and got a whipping or something. And they did an investigation. They collected blood samples and everything from the house, but the problem was they couldn't determine how long that blood had been there, I guess. And it wasn't a match to anybody in the house. So for whatever reason, they just didn't have enough. And I don't think they were allowed to talk to me. I think my dad would have had to give them permission for the investigators to interrogate me. So I don't recall ever giving testimony as a child. Not to the police in that instance or in the instance up in Tennessee.
Did you provide any testimony to the police in any of those 5 cases? Well, the one case with the military, with the child pornography. I can remember the sheriff talking to me at the beach in Panama City, and I don't remember what all was said, but I can remember my dad tried to get out of there, and the guy that went and fished me out, my dad's a pretty big guy, and he could fight, but the guy that went and got me was he was a tank, so it wasn't something that he wanted to really get into a fight about over there, and people started coming in, so my parents, I can remember them trying to hug me and stuff. Oh my God, thank God. I can remember the guy that fished me out, they said, there's no goddamn way. I heard that from 150 yards away, and you're standing